Okay, in this video, I'm going to help map out a YouTube video from one of my clients, CC. So CC joined the Peak Business System program about a month or so ago. He's had 17 years in the game as a personal trainer, runs his own personal training studio and facility in the US. And during today's call, I just finished with him about 15 minutes ago. I was helping him map out his next YouTube video. So he's very much familiar with YouTube and was posting content for his previous offer. As you guys can see, his previous offer was working with women to help them achieve a physical health outcome. He referred to losing 30 pounds in 6 months. He's now pivoted and changed his offer to work with individuals who are male entrepreneurs and business professionals to help them improve their quality of health. And therefore, he's pivoting his offer right now as in the process of establishing the foundations of this new offer. Therefore, one of my first priorities with him is to help him start map out his next 3 YouTube videos for this offer. As you guys can see, I have his personalized Asana dashboard here. This is what I put together for all clients I work with, all fitness and health coaches who either work in person or online who are wanting to start, grow, and scale their online coaching business. I built out this template for them so we can map out every process of our work together and document everything very efficiently, including, of course, the ideation of YouTube videos and long-form content being one of our primary acquisition methods for high-ticket clients in this space. So as you guys can see, yesterday evening, about 24 hours or so ago, CC uploaded a little bit of context for me in preparation for our one-to-one call this week in which we would review his video ideation process. Therefore, he wanted to title a video, Always Tired After 40, Try This 4 Fixes. Now, of course, the inference being the fact, or rather the allusion to the fact that he wants to work with individuals who are middle-aged men, who are entrepreneurial and have a successful career behind them. And of course, he wants to help them overcome their sleep-related difficulties. As you guys will see here, I'm going to map out this entire video for CC. He's in the process of now doing this himself, but I'm going to do so for this video purpose, and I'll send it over to him as well so you can actually leverage this and benefit from this. But we'll first and foremost start off with the title. So whenever ideating a video or ideating titles for a video, I personally create a list of 5 to 15, and I reverse engineer this in a very straightforward manner. I typically go to YouTube, and I will search for videos associated towards the topic matter of content I want to be creating content on, right? So let's say in this example, why am I always tired? This is one of the first titles I search for. I'll then look for outliers from individuals who produce content titled in a similar way to the video that I want to be creating a piece of content on. So for example, why you're always tired and how to fix it. I like this title, it's performed very well. Of course, the channel has a huge audience already, and therefore click-through rate and engagement, viewing duration from this video will be decently high no matter what, hence why it's performed very well. But nonetheless, I can see why the title performed well, and therefore how I can take some inspiration from that potentially. I'll look at a few other examples. Why am I always tired? Avoid these 6 energy vampires. Pretty interesting. Not my cup of tea personally. Fatigue. Why am I so tired and what to do about it? Okay, that's okay. The video hasn't performed particularly well. I'll set a couple of others. I can see why this performed very well. Obviously, the channel being 3 million subscribers, but psychiatrist explains why you feel tired all the time. So indication of authority as to why you should pay attention to the individual who's created a piece of content. It makes perfect sense as to why the videos perform particularly well, right? So I'll look at a few different examples of titles that I could potentially leverage and ways of framing it. And as we can see here, in my opinion, there's 3 or 4 different ways you could frame a title associated with this topic matter. So it could be why you're always tired, and therefore as a prospective viewer or an individual searching for solutions pertaining towards their fatigue, they're most likely searching to YouTube, why am I always tired, right? Another example of something they could do would be go to YouTube and search for tired all the time. That could be another term they're searching for, which should, again, provide them with solutions to the potential difficulty they're facing. Another one could be, why do I always feel all the time? A little more depth there, a little bit more specific. Cool. So we have 3 different ways of phrasing essentially the same premise for a title, at least 3 starting points for a title. Knowing that CC wants to work with individuals who are in the middle age, who have attained decent career success, either through entrepreneurial ventures or a corporate career 9-to-5 job, I now want to ensure this video title resonates with them as a prospective viewer and ideal client of CC's. So knowing this individual and this group of individuals who he wants to captivate the attention of, I know for a fact that 2 things they're most concerned by are their financial situation, and also, of course, is direct relation with the state of the US economy, or UK economy, Western world's economy, because of course that will determine their financial success over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and of course their family's stability, economically speaking. And I'm also very aware of the fact that they're concerned by their quality of health and their ability to stay around for years to come to ensure they see their grandchildren, to ensure they're there for their family, support them, etc. And they've most likely, in some capacity, had a health scare, having reached their middle ages, or they are friends with individuals who have had health scares and family members also. So there's 2 points of resonance there that I can lean into a title. Therefore, personally, the title that I'd leverage for this video would be Why You're Always Tired and How It's Costing the US Economy $411 billion annually. A slight reframing of this potentially, but I would most likely produce a title similar to this. The reason being very straightforward. These individuals that I wanted to acquire the attention of as my ideal clients are individuals that are extremely money motivated and of course are concerned by the state of the US economy at this exact moment in time. I'm also very aware of the impact that sleep debt has on the US economy, having of course been a health nerd since I was 13, so for the last 14, 15 years of my life. And therefore I've paid attention to many studies and metric-based observations like this, inferring of course the significant impact sleep debt has on economies worldwide. And as we can see, sleep debt costs the US economy $411 billion annually and causes around 1.2 million lost working days, primarily due to lower productivity, increased presenteeism, etc., which is pretty mental. I know that's a statistic that will shock most individuals, particularly male individuals in their 40s and 50s who want to resolve their sleep-related issues, right? Particularly potential business owners, because again, they're concerned by their employee productivity also is another factor. So I could either leverage this as a title, or a potential title, or of course I could refer to the impact that sleep debt has and poor quality sleep has on health span for male individuals. So again, I'd search on Google, impact of sleep debt on cancer rates for men. And of course, I've been touched by this person having lost my dad to cancer, and he's an individual that didn't necessarily take care of himself particularly well either. And therefore I saw the first-hand impact of that. I try and find a statistic inferring the unbelievably negative impact the sleep debt or lack of sleep quality has on lifespan and impact to have in terms of causal factors associated towards illness. So this would be the process that I personally leverage to determine titles for a video. And I'd of course want the title to be framed in a way in which I'm speaking directly to the recipient of the video and the individual I'm wanting to captivate the attention of. Whereas what most individuals do when I first start working with them and they first start producing content for their offer is they know for a fact they want to produce content with the objective of acquiring the attention of their ideal client, and they just slap a term associated to their ideal client into a title and produce a pretty shit title. An example of which being, let's use an example of a shit title I've seen previously. Always tired as an entrepreneur, try these 4 fixes, right? What on earth would encourage an entrepreneur to watch that video based on its title? Nothing whatsoever. Sleep in itself is an issue which all human beings across the entire planet experience. It's not specifically applicable to an entrepreneur. Yes, entrepreneurs live high-stressed lives, etc., and therefore the impediment experienced to their sleep or associated with their sleep could be more significant. Yeah, absolutely, and therefore it may acquire the attention of a couple of people. But your objective with YouTube is not only to acquire the attention of your ideal client, it's to acquire the attention of individuals in the age demographic of individuals you're wanting to acquire to actually facilitate decent viewership. An example of which being facilitated very well by my client Marvin, who I've now been working with for like 8 months or so now in Peak Business as a mentorship. So as you guys can see here, he's working with individuals who are entrepreneurial or have a facilitated career success. They're in the middle age, and he's helping them achieve more physique-based outcome. I facilitate health improvement and optimization. He's currently helping them achieve a physique-based outcome. This title, How to Become Fitter Than 95% of Men Over 40, 4 Factors, is a brilliant title. He's not explicitly said how to become fitter as an entrepreneur or any bullshit title like this. He's referred to his demographic, men over 40. He's referred to how to become fitter, fitter being a relatively ambiguous term in terms of what it actually means, which will acquire the attention of many individuals who, again, want to achieve a fitness or health goal. And he's referred to how to facilitate an improvement or a better outcome than 95% of individuals in their age demographic, which is great because these individuals are extremely competitive and A-type personalities, and they want to be the best of the best. They want to be the top 5 and 1% of people, and that inspires that competitive component to them. And then, of course, he alludes to the fact he will deliver 4 factors of value, which again ensures that the individual who is going to be engaging with this piece of content knows how much value they can actually ascribe from the video. Brilliant title. And that's facilitated in part by the checklist that I provide all my mentees with. So as we can see here, this is my Asana board for my client, Rodrigo. This is the checklist that I provide them with. You need to introduce a percentage or metrics in some capacity in your title. We can see that Marvin's done so here by his inference to 95%. And of course, over men over the age of 40. Reference to his ideal client, which he's done so very successfully. You can refer to their age, you can refer to their gender, you can refer to their career, you can refer to their hobbies, a term that they resonate with. There's so many ways you can approach this. just don't be lazy with this and slap entrepreneur in a title if you're working with entrepreneurs as clients or middle-aged women. It's so lazy, and so many coaches who are starting out do this, and it's such a poor way to acquire clients. In fact, it just doesn't work because they know it's lazy. Use some metric inference of how much value will be conveyed in the video. For example, 4 tips. We can see Marvin's leverage is 4 factors. And use of outcome, which is clear enough, but is also somewhat ambiguous. The objective of becoming fitter, if you were to ask a room of 10 male individuals what that means from their perspective, they'll all give you a different outcome. Some may say improve cardiovascular health. Some may say the ability to walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. Some may say lifting 315 on bench, for example. So many different definitions of what fitness is. Some may say getting a 6-pack, being the best shape they ever have been, etc. So you want to use at least 1 or 2 of these components for this checklist. I've referred to 4 things, but at least leveraging 1 or 2 of these components will be beneficial to you. And again, the way that I'd approach this personally is I use different phrasing of the start of the title, and then I try to add an inference to my ideal client, or at least pique their curiosity in the back end of my titles. So the 3 different ways of framing this title would be why you're always tired all the time, why you feel tired all the time. There's plenty of other ways you could approach it as well, but this is how I would personally approach this. In terms of the hook, we can see CC's hook here, or his intended hook, which he and I have just discussed in immense detail. So knowing that he's going to refer to individuals of a certain demographic and age in his title, there's no need for this first sentence. And this is a pretty weak hook, and I communicated this to him. Are you over 40 and always tired? Because again, basically all he's doing here is recommunicating the title, which is what captivates the attention of the viewer in the first place, and therefore this is a redundant first sentence. Do you drink 2 cups of coffee just to feel normal and then crash hard every afternoon? I get it, and so do hundreds of other guys I've helped fix this problem. This isn't particularly emotionally captivating. So what he's wanting to provide a solution to here is sleep debt and fatigue, right? And the negative impact that has on an individual's life, whether or not they are 40 plus, anyone, sleep debt impacts all of us in many different ways. As a male individual in their 40s, sleep debt may impact someone by through the form of having difficulty getting out of bed, feeling extremely lethargic, to an extent depressed, arguing with their boss or their colleagues, having a really short temper, snapping with their partners and their girlfriends, contributing towards a divorce, having a very short temper infused with their kids, inability to work out because they feel so fatigued, they just want to slump on the sofa and they're depressed as a byproduct of that. These are really emotional things which people can resonate with, right? You want to hold up a mirror to them and reflect the concerns and the problems they're experiencing as a byproduct of sleep debt and fatigue. You need to ensure they're much more impactful than what CC's done here, which is what I communicated to him just now during the one-to-one call we've just concluded. I got another example here of how I provided this feedback to one of my other clients, Rodrigo, also for a hook that I helped him work on. So he wanted to create a video on cravings, and therefore I helped him restructure his hook entirely. So let's evaluate this step by step. Cravings aren't caused by a lack of willpower. That's the lie the health and fitness industry has been selling you. Now, this is a great hook in itself because it creates dissonance with a narrative which people resonate with or have believed for the majority of their lives, which of course is that cravings occur as a byproduct of a lack of willpower, and it's something you can't control. You're at the mercy of your willpower, etc. And I've also justified the fact that it's a lie, or I've inferred that it's a lie the health and fitness industry has been selling them, and therefore I make them feel that they are heard and acknowledged, because most individuals feel in some capacity burnt by the fitness and health industry because at some point they've worked with a shit coach or a personal trainer or have fallen victim to a fad, etc. So by this point I've created resonance, and I make the prospective viewer of the video, or the individual viewing the video, feel comfortable and feel heard, feel justified. And now I'm going to provide them with a solution. The real cause is, depending on what Rodrigo wants to present as the causal factor of cravings, excessive weight gain, etc. And fundamentally, this video is going to be predicated around the topic matter of how to lose belly fat, of course, because that's the outcome these individuals want to achieve, and cravings are the things that are preventing them from doing so. In today's video, I'll share my 4-step strategy for eliminating cravings completely, the same framework I've implemented with over 700 6-9-figure entrepreneurs. What I've done here very effectively is alluded to the value that's going to be associated with the video, the 4-step component for eliminating cravings completely. And therefore, the recipient of this video, the viewer, has clarity pertaining towards what's going to be documented here. And I've also alluded to my authority. I've introduced myself in some capacity, and I validated the viewer's reason for continuing to watch the video by referring to the fact that I've helped 700 of the individuals who are watching this video achieve an outcome. And I can showcase social proof. The way that I typically do so is I pull up a slide like this, or deck of slides like this, and I briefly refer to the service I've been operating for the last 8 years, the clients I've worked with, the caliber of them, etc. And therefore, as a byproduct of that, the recipient of my content, the viewer of my content, knows that I'm a trusted authority who's worked with many individuals that they also look up to and want to be like in the future in some capacity. So that's a great way to introduce yourself, which of course I've encouraged Rodrigo to do there, and ensures that the viewer knows why they should pay attention to you specifically as an authority and coach. Once done so, you then, of course, elaborate upon what's going to be actually communicated in the video. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss these 4 things, 4 solutions. But firstly, before we do this, we're going to expand upon the causal factors of cravings. What causes your cravings in the first place, etc. Right? So for CC specifically, I want him to refine his hook. I think he'll be much more impactful and much more emotionally captivating, and needs to be so to ensure engagement is sustained, and also that the viewer feels spoken to, specifically the male individual in their middle age who is struggling with sleep and fatigue and wants to achieve a health outcome in order to attain a better quality of life, no matter their financial situation. He then, of course, needs to introduce himself, and CC as an individual, he really needs to lean into his, in my opinion, his military background. So you'll notice, and actually there's a really good Facebook post about this from one of my old clients, Keaton. Most individuals in either the make money space or the fitness and health space, they all look the same. They all sound the same. There's nothing individual about them. And as a byproduct of that, they gain very little attention. The best way to stand out in any space, in my opinion, is to combine things that don't normally go together and have an element of uniqueness about yourself. And Keaton is one of my old clients and a good friend of mine, and he uploaded a really good post about this on Facebook. So let's use Nick Bear as an example. And those of you in the fitness space will be aware of him, of course. He was a bodybuilder, competed in bodybuilding shows, had a military background, and now he started to run marathons. He's essentially the embodiment of hybrid athlete. And therefore, as soon as he started to embody that identity and create content around how to be a hybrid athlete, his channel took off and he built an unbelievably successful company being BPN. Prior to that, if you go back to his YouTube channel, he was uploading if it fits your macro day of eating videos, food challenges, bodybuilding workouts, military stuff. It hadn't really picked up yet. Alex Hormozi, he is the opposite of what most individuals in the business education space had been. He's a jacked, Keaton refers to him as a super Mario giving business advice, but he's a jacked bodybuilder looking dude wearing lumberjack shirt, overcoat, top kind of thing, wearing Crocs, shorts, beard, cap, the opposite of what most business gurus are in this space. And therefore, it was extremely impactful. Not only the fact that he was doing 100 million a year when he first entered the space, but also just his personality and identity, his look, everything embodied was different to what most people see in the space. So I'd encourage in the introduction of yourself within your videos, you have to convey some element of uniqueness, whether it be what you're communicating verbally or the way you present yourself as an individual. It's got to be something of intrigue and interest about you, which creates resonance with your ideal clients. Not only the way of the value you're providing in a video, and of course the way you're framing it in terms of creating emotional resonance, but there's got to be something interesting about you also when you've got to lean into this in your introduction to yourself in the first part of your video. Now, of course, the value component of the video, this is done in a pretty straightforward manner, in my opinion. You have sections of the body of the video. So, for example, for Rodrigo's video pertaining towards fat loss and association with cravings here, I give him clarity here. Elaborate upon when we as humans experience cravings, which creates resonance with your viewer. So you refer to real life scenarios in which cravings are experienced, the negative outcome of that, the pain associated with that. You create more emotional resonance here. And again, CC needs to do the same thing as it pertains to sleep debt associated with his ideal client. Before I dive into this, I just want to clarify and give my feedback on another part of CC's intro, which I feel he needs to change drastically. Over the last 17 years, these are simple fixes that I've helped hundreds of 6-7-figure entrepreneurs get 30% more energy in just 30 days. The inference of longevity is career, awesome, great indicator of authority, brilliant. The use of language here is pretty basic in my opinion and could be further expanded upon to create more emotional resonance. And this, again, isn't a particularly great hook or introduction. And also the inference that he's helped individuals gain 30% more energy in 30 days is a metric he can't quantify. And I see so many service providers in the fitness and health space pull bullshit metrics out from nowhere to infer that they can help someone achieve an unbelievable outcome. There's no way that I can go back through all of the 800 clients I worked with for Peak Health, my one-to-one clients, and continue to work with, and quantify the exact percentage increase in energy they've experienced as a result of working with me. I can track their sleep metrics. I can, from their perspective, converse with them about their work output and efficiency increase as a byproduct of taking care of their health. But quantifying that is such a difficult task. So if you are to leverage any statistics, the statistics you should leverage should create resonance with your ideal client. Absolutely. An example of which being the impact that sleep fatigue has on the economy. And also, of course, the impact that it has on the occurrence or event of cancer or illnesses, which we experience as human beings, which everyone's been touched by at some point or impacted by in their lives at some point. These are statistics which cause resonance and further validate the importance of paying attention to your sleep, and therefore support the narrative which CC is trying to leverage in his video, or any video you choose to produce as a health and fitness content creator and, of course, coach. Is really important. And I see so many individuals pull metrics like this out of nowhere and they can't justify them in any capacity. And they do so because they simply want to ensure that they are perceived as authorities who are providing ample value to the lives of their viewers and, of course, their ideal clients. And you don't need to pull out random metrics to communicate this. You can leverage actual legitimate metrics like this to infer value and validate your argument and your point of view and reinforce the reasons to why the viewer should pay attention to the remainder of your video. In terms of the remainder of the video, as I referred to here for Rodrigo, of course, is the first section of the body. Once it's been taken care of, speak the frustrations and pains derived from being out of shape, overweight, guilty about overeating, etc. The second section of the body is expanding upon the actual cause of cravings, so physiology mismanagement in this instance, and likely refer once again to the pains experienced by the viewer when they have not successfully been able to overcome these cravings. Third section of the body is actually provide the solution here. So by this point, you have the viewer hooked emotionally, they're captivated, you have their attention, you've debunked certain myths and false beliefs, and you're now inferring that you can provide a new solution which will actually facilitate the outcome they want to achieve in the most efficient time process possible, and therefore you are seen as an authority as a byproduct. This is how to approach a video in terms of ideation, structure, etc. And just to go back in even more depth, the best way to approach ideation is to, in my opinion, map out the pillars of your product. So for me, it's sleep, nutrition, medical testing, supplementation, training, and of course, productivity is a secondary outcome of this. And then create video ideas within each component. So for example, a list of video ideas pertaining towards sleep issues your ideal client experiences, nutrition issues they experience, medical testing and supplementation as an example. That's the best way to reverse engineer or create ideas for a video. And then you can go through this entire process of title ideation, mapping out, etc. I'll create an entirely new video on how to create thumbnails shortly, but for now I appreciate it's a 22-minute video already, and I've been rambling for a while. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If of course you want to work with me in a one-to-one capacity to help you start, grow and scale your online fitness and health coaching business, you can check out the link in the description below and join my school to work with me directly and personally like I do so with my client CC here. Until then, enjoy this video. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comment section down below, and I shall catch you guys in the next one.